Hello! In this video we're going to be finding the height. Specifically, we will be finding the height for cylinders and cones. To do this, we're going to use our process of ESA. So we're going to do the equation, the substitution, and then we're going to find the answer and solve for h. Let's take a look at the first model problem. Find the height, so we're looking for height, of a cylinder, that's important. Find the height of a cylinder that has a volume of 1,357 and 1700 centimeters cubed and a radius of 6. It does give us a rounding place. It says round to the nearest tenths place. So we have a cylinder, we know the volume, we know the radius, and we have a rounding place. Okay, so let's go over to our formulas, and we want the cylinder formula. We're going to do V is equal to pi r squared h, and I'm going to take this volume that they gave us right here and I'm going to put it right in for V. So 1,357.17 is equal to pi times the radius, so that would be 6 squared, times height. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take part of these values here and I'm actually going to simplify it. So I'm going to take this part right here and I'm actually going to simplify that. So if you're okay with that, I will need a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, make sure you grab one. So I have 1,357.17 is equal to, now let's actually get our graph here, or our calculations. So if you're ready, we're going to do pi times 6 squared, which I know is 36. So pi times 36. And I made a mistake in there, so let's see. So pi times 36, and that's going to give me 113.0973. Now I'm going to take it out about 4 decimal places if that's okay. H. Now if I'm solving for h, I have to get rid of the 113.0973. The opposite of multiplying that is dividing by that. Now a neat little trick with your calculator if you want to know it. I'm going to type in the 1,357.17 and I'm going to hit divide by, and since the last thing in my calculator is that big long decimal, I'm going to hit, and maybe you can see it, my cursor's moving on it right now, it says ANS. You probably have that somewhere on your calculator, even if it's a cell phone calculator. So I'm going to hit control, then I'm going to hit answer. So what that says is take 1,357.17 and divide it by our previous answer. And I'm getting an answer of 12.000, lots of zeros there. So H is approximately 12.0. Now it did say round to the nearest tenth. Because it says round to the nearest tenth, I need to have a digit there. You have to put the 0 there. And that's just plain old centimeters. What do you think? Not too bad. All right, let's try another one here. So this question is about Reese, and she would like to purchase a snow cone container. So she wants to buy a bunch of these snow cone containers. You've probably seen these before. And they hold approximately 12.8 cubic inches of fluid. Okay, if the diameter of the container should be, so now this is diameter, how tall will they be? I'm looking for how tall. So we know we've got a cone. Formula is 1/3 pi r squared h. So that's my formula for a cone. Now I know the volume is 12.8, so I'm going to put the 12.8 right where the V should be. 1/3 times pi times the radius. Now this is kind of tricky. It says the diameter is 3.5. So to get the radius, I have to do 3.5 and I have to divide it by 2. So I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to divide that by 2, and what I get is 1.75, and you can double check my work there. So this is 1.75 squared times h. So now the next thing I'm going to have to do is punch all this in my calculator, at least this part of it right here. So I just want to change this right here to a decimal. Here we go. Let's pull this up, and not knowing what calculator you have, I'm going to do this very simplistically. So I'm going to do 1 divided by 3 and hit enter. You should get 0.33333. That's what you should get on your calculator screen. Mine gives me a third, but you should get the decimal. Without hitting anything else, I'm going to say times, see how it comes up with answer, times pi times 1.75 squared. Enter. Okay, and I'm getting, ooh, that's really hard for me to read. I don't think I put my decimal in the 1.75, but the good thing is I already did my calculation. So 12.8 is equal to 3.2070 h. Again, I'm going to take this out about 4 decimal places. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 3.2070. And that means h is going to equal, so I'm going to pull this back out again. I'm going to go 12.8 divided by 3.2070. And it looks to me like 3.99. So actually, I shouldn't use an equal sign here. So h is approximately 3.99, which means h is approximately 4.0 inches. So that means the height of this cone should be about 4 inches tall. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, you probably have seen this movie before. So in the Disney's Car movie, the Cozy Cone Motel has cone-shaped rooms. What's the approximate height if the diameter of each cone, so diameter, that's important, is 20 feet and the volume is 5,864 cubic feet? And they did give us a rounding place. It says round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we know that we're dealing with a cone. They gave us the diameter, but I know I'm going to need the radius, and they gave us volume. So we're talking about a cone. Let's write down the cone formula. So V is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. Your volume is right here, so I'm going to put that right in place of V. So 5,864 equals 1/3 times pi times radius. Now diameter is 20. I'm going to take that 20 and I'm going to divide that by 2, which means my radius is 10. So 10 squared h. So 5,864 is equal to, so I'm going to go back to my graphing calculator here, and I'm going to type in 1 divided by 3. Okay, hit enter, so I'm going to get 0.3 repeating times pi times 10 squared, or you could type in 100 if you know that. Alright, so it looks like I'm getting 100.4 or 104.719. Alright, I'm going to take 4 decimal places there. So I'm getting 104.7197 h, and now I'm going to divide both sides by that 104.7197. And on my calculator, because I haven't hit anything, I'm going to hit the 5,864 divided by, and I'm going to use the answer function. Unless you're fine with retyping it, you can. And I'm getting approximately 55.99, round to the nearest tenth of a foot. So h is equal to, or actually approximately, 55.99. So if I'm rounding here, this 9 is 5 or more, I have to raise the score. So h is approximately 56.0 feet. All right, let's try another. If the volume of a cone is 528 pi, ooh, this is interesting. This one has a pi symbol on it, and the radius is 12. What's the height? Now we're talking cones, so volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. So I'm going to do 528 pi is equal to 1/3 times pi times 12 squared times h. Now I'm going to do something that maybe you hadn't thought about doing before, but if I've got pi on both sides, I'm going to do this. So I can cancel those pi's. Oh, thought I changed the color. So I have 528 is equal to 1/3 times 12 squared, which is 144, times h. Now if you want to do this in pieces, you could do this in pieces. You could divide both sides by 144. You can totally do that. I don't know what that comes out to be. So let's check that out. Let's see, 528 divided by 144. And that's going to give me 11/3. So my calculator gives me 11/3. So I'm probably doing this a little bit harder than I need to be. Equals 1/3 h. To get rid of the 1/3, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Cancel, cancel, and I get h, cancel, cancel, is equal to 11 centimeters. Now that's one way I could have done it. 528 pi is equal to, the alternate way you could have done it, totally doesn't matter, is you could have multiplied this, but leave the pi. I would leave the pi symbol out. So what I would do is I would do 1 divided by 3, get my 1/3, times 12 squared. And that's going to give me 48. So now I have 528 pi equals 48 pi h. So now if I'm solving for h, I need to get rid of the 48 and the pi. So I'm going to divide both sides by 48 pi. So the pi's cancel. And now on your calculator you just have to do 528 divided by 48, and that should be 11, and it is. So the point I was trying to make is you can divide it in pieces, or you could multiply it and then just divide once. It's totally up to you. You've got lots of options there. Okay, let's do one last one. Okay, the cylinder. Okay, so we're dealing with a cylinder. Diameter of 12 and a volume of 180 pi. We're looking for the height. So cylinder, E is equal to pi r squared h. The volume is 180 pi. So I'm going to put 180 pi right here is equal to pi times the radius. Careful, they gave me the diameter is 12. I got to divide that by 2, so the radius is 6. Whoops. Okay, so this is 6 squared times h. So 180 pi is equal to, this gives me, let's see, 36 pi h, and now if I'm solving for h, I have to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplying by 36 pi is dividing by 36 pi. So 36 is canceled, the pi's cancel. Pi cancels here. I'm going to have to figure out what 180 divided by 36 is. So 180 divided by 36, and I am getting 5. So it looks like h is equal to 5, and those would be inches. And there we go. So your practice is to do the homework page that is on my website. Now, just as I always tell you to do, I'd like you to start with doing all of the odds until you get to our time limit. Our time limit has been up to 40 minutes. So this video is approximately 15 minutes. So that gives you plenty of time to try and get all of those done. Okay? Send me a message or email me if you have any questions or concerns, and good luck.